Hi, this is Joe, and I just wanted to share with you an experience that I had this afternoon in Fairmount Park, Philadelphia, PA. I was attempting to get to know all the point of entries to Fairmount Park. They're called P-points. They're points where you can enter the creeks at the main part of Fairmount Park. And I've been staying with the Wissahickon Valley Park, a section of the park that's close to where I live. There's a Wissahickon Creek that I usually walk and bicycle along. It extends between Lansdale and Philadelphia in my area of Montgomery County, but just outside of my area where I normally would be traveling with a bicycle and doing some hiking. There's some nice whitewater creeks, and this is what they call the Philadelphia Fairmount Park, or the area of Fairmount Park that goes in along a creek valley for the Wissahickon Creek, and it's about only 5 miles from where I live. And this afternoon I ran out of film. The darn camera had some kind of file error, so I ran out of film, but I went down into a section of the Wissahickon Valley Park that's a little known to most people. If they were following the main trail, which is the Forbidden Drive, that's where the trail's the widest. It's on one side of the creek. There's an area that people can actually drive their cars up to the Valley Green Inn, but just past there, there's an area of Fairmount Park where there's a dam, and I think it's the only dam that has a restored mill building next to it, and that would be called the Livezy Mill section of Fairmount Park, nearby Valley Green. And there's a little known way to get in there, and a section of that Livezy Mill that has a detached section to it, so you can see where the dam is and the mill house. That's all restored, but there's an area where there's you get in through Allen's Lane. If you look at the Fairmount Park map, that's the way you get in it, and it's kind of a ways down, at least a mile down Allen's Lane, until you reach a fork in the trail, a fork in the road. It's a narrow road, and you see a sign. It's I think a little bit deceptive on this branch from Allen's Lane past their art center, and it says Livezy Lane, and across from the sign there's a Fairmount Park sign, and it says Fairmount Park Road, authorized vehicles only, but it descends for at least a mile down into the Wissahickon Creek Valley, or Wissahickon River Valley. It's obviously a very carved out valley, dense forest on each side, a man-made canyon there. I mean, I shouldn't have said that. A canyon men use down there. It's a river valley. But at the foot of the hill, this will be Livezy Lane. You see a parking lot, and there's a lot of cars there usually, but there's some no parking signs, and that was what was written on the top of Livezy Lane and Fairmount Park Road. No parking. But a lot of people park in this area that used to be a parking lot. I guess it still is some parts of it, but most of it says no parking. And I think there was probably 10 vehicles parked in this area that they had originally for a parking lot. And it had a road that was wide leading to that one point, so people parked along the road as they were coming in to the end of Livezy Lane at the creek. And where the creek and the road come together, there were houses along the way, though, so it wasn't really a park road to that point. and people live right there at the restored mill. There were paths that lead off in two directions. One leads to the dam from the old 1800s mill that was there, and people swim in the dam, and there's a lot of white water around there, and I let my dog go in a creek there, and then there were some kids or some teenagers that were coming up out of the other trail, and I wanted to see where that was. There's a giant sandbar. You can hardly see it from Forbidden Drive. It's sort of hidden from view, but it's an enormous sandbar. It would have to be the size of someone's front yard from around where I live, like 50 feet by 50 feet. You know, it's just really huge, and it sticks out into this deep part of where the water's dammed up on the Wissahickon Drive, and people were going into the water there and swimming in the Wissahickon right next to Livezy Mill. And back a little bit from there, it must have been a couple hundred feet, there's huge glacial boulders and a big rock formation right at the upper part of the dam, and there was a giant swimming hole, very deep. It was a hole where people were diving off the rocks to get into this this area. It looked like a hot tub or something, but it was huge. It was an area of green water and blue water. It was very clear, probably about 100 feet around, and it was very deep, you know. So I recommend that. I really do. Livezy Mill, as long as you approach it from somewhere other than the Forbidden Drive, because you never see all that. You never get to see the swimming and diving area or the sandbar, and that's all off of Allen's Lane in the very upper part of northwest Philadelphia, Gresham Valley Drive or Emlyn Street, Allen's Lane. So good luck if you ever go down there. It really is beautiful, and the trails are pretty smooth. I brought my 88-year-old mother down there, and she hiked into the trails for a while, and she likes to watch the white water and the natural habitat. You would never know it's so close to the city there. It's not even 5.5 miles down. It's more like 2.5 miles from the top of the Fairmount Park at that point. It's a place I would recommend. Talk to you later.